Hello and welcome to the Boiler Upload YouTube show. I'm Casey Bartley, and next to me here on the screen, Rapheal Davis, the former Purdue Boilermaker and now Big Ten analyst and announcer. Rapheal, thank you for joining. How you doing today?
I'm good, man. I can't complain. How about yourself?
Not too bad. I'm jealous of your situation being down in Atlanta right now. It's a crisp 26 here in West Lafayette.
No, it is a good, let me check for you. It's a good 65 right now. So it's all good.
That hurts. As someone that just moved back from South Carolina a few months ago,
No, I feel you. I feel you.
I miss everything about the South besides the basketball.
I feel that. It's different. Basketball
It's
in the South is way different than it is. It's different what's valued.
yeah.
It's different in what's valued, and it's way different. It's faster, but I mean, I think basketball as a whole is better in Indiana and what places, but it's better to watch down south.
That's fair. Yeah, when you can walk out afterwards and not feel like you're gonna become an icicle, that's
Right.
much improved. So let's jump into the hot topic right away, which is it seemed about halfway through the season, everyone agreed that Zach Edey was the best player in the country,
Right.
the best player in the conference. Now there is some debate going around because of Trayce Jackson-Davis's last few games. I guess last month he's been on a tear.
Right.
You just posted a video for Big Ten Network, pretty much saying you still believe Zach Edey's the best player in the country. Am I correct?
Yeah. I mean, because you look at, I mean, it's two things that go into that, and it's I know everybody likes to have recency bias and all that stuff,
Right.
but you can't just delete 2 months out of the season
Right.
and say, "Oh, he's caught him now." You know what I mean? Like December, November, December count. Like half of January counts. So, I mean, and you look at what TJD has been doing. It's been great, but Zach's been doing it all season.
Right.
Like you can't just like I think it's funny, and I like TJD. He plays well. He plays hard now. I mean, I'm enjoying it. But I think a guy like Tubelis is sitting at home like, what's going on? You know what I mean? Like we beat those dudes by 20. You feel me? And it's like Tubelis outplayed him. Like Tubelis had a good one. Bilo had a good one. Then a guy like Jalen Wilson is upset as well. I mean, they beat him by 20 at Kansas, and I don't know how he jumps Tubelis, jumps Jalen Wilson, or even catches Zach Edey. And I know his numbers have been crazy the last, I think, 10, 12 games, but just the same numbers Zach Edey's been averaging all season. So I think with the consistency piece, the whole season piece, and then Purdue's winning the league, I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's close. I don't see how. I think the person they should have said he jumped, I guess, could have been Jalen Pickett in the league, but I don't know if it's Zach Edey at this point.
Yeah, and honestly, Jalen Pickett's been kind of criminally under talked about this year.
Right.
Pretty much putting up 27 and 7 every night and not being even in the conversation is
that's why I think
wild to me.
That's why I think things like the All-American teams, it shouldn't be who has the best name. Like it should be who's the best player.
Right.
It should be position. It shouldn't be for like Tubelis. If I'm Tubelis, this is just me. If I'm Tubelis, I'm upset if I make it and TJD makes first team because I beat him. We play the same position. I beat him. If I'm Zach Edey, I'm upset if Drew Timme makes it because I beat him. I dominated him.
Right.
Like, I think that type of stuff should matter, and then it gives more value to the team. It gives more competitiveness, and you really pick who's the best player in that position. And I think that make more sense. But for Jalen Pickett, because he will be Jalen Pickett when Denzel Valentine's put up these numbers, player of the year in the country. So I mean, if he was on a different team that wasn't Penn State, he'd be first team. So
yeah, it's hard to argue with that. He obviously was very good against Purdue, especially the first game. He's special. But yeah, it's always been weird to me just because there's never been a drop off with Edey's production.
Yeah.
So it's literally one of those things where it's just like, well, we're gonna just continue to talk about his 20 and 15 every night.
Yeah. And then I guess when you would have thought, I think TJD had 33 in the game, and it was kind of like, oh man, he's really him. And then Zach Edey against Michigan State gets 38.
Right.
The very next game. So it's like, yeah, you can't. Yeah, those first 2 months, that matters. That counts. Even with the freshman team, even with Hood Schifino, when you think about Fletcher Lawyer and
Right.
Brady Smith, like those first 2 months, Hood Schifino was injured, didn't really play. The consistency piece has to matter when you're giving away a full season award.
Yeah. Since you brought up Lawyer and Smith, I definitely wanted to talk a little bit about Matt Painter's system and being a young guard in it. How difficult is it to play early and have, I remember I did a dive a few years ago where especially like shooters kind of jumped in their third year. How much is that just knowing the offense to a point where you don't have to think as much on the court?
I mean, yeah, that matters. That that matters. You could be a senior and still not know the offense though. So I mean, yeah. So I think it's not like when you get to that third year, it just clicks because every game we're adding stuff. Every year you're adding stuff. Only thing that's pretty much is going to be consistent throughout is going to be the motion, the way we're in motion.
Mm-hmm.
I think it matters. I think it's tough to play as a freshman. I guess physically, mentally. But I mean, in high school, those guys had a lot of plays. I don't know Braden's coach. I know Fletcher played for a good program. They won games, and I mean, even when I came in, I started as a freshman at times. AJ played as a freshman. I mean, it's just all up to you and what you're willing to work on. I think those guys have put in the time to learn the offense, to know what's going on. And Paint's system is pretty simple, especially with this team. Just throw the ball on the side. Like there's not much to worry about. You throw the ball on the side, shoot it when you open. Paint keeps it simple. So I haven't been in the locker room for I guess I have been in the locker room this season, but I guess not for that type of speech. I'm assuming what it would say. I'm assuming what Paint would say. It would say, throw the ball on the side, shoot it when you're open, drive and make a play for somebody else. And I think those are simplistic. Right. Those are simplistic things that anybody can grasp, and it gives you confidence to go out there and play your game. But I think Paint is as far as with Braden in the ball screen situations, and I don't know if he's had a guard to put in those ball screen situations since Lou Jack. And I mean, Lou Jack played with 3 other NBA players, so you didn't need the ball in his hand so much. But I think we may think it's a little different because of the ball screens and Braden. But if it was just Lou Jack and it was JJ and Robbie and Etwan, they weren't on that team, it'd be the same thing. Lou Jack would have had the same opportunities. So I think Paint is just a simple guy on offense, and as long as it takes longer to get the defensive part, in my opinion.
Okay.
The defensive rules, where to be, jumping to the ball, don't help out of the corner, which way we're post trapping, all of that stuff. Are we switching? Are we not? Who are we switching on? Who are you closing out to? Who are you not closing out to? Who gets a Kobe closeout? Who gets a Rondo closeout? So, I mean, all of that stuff is a little more difficult than the offense.
Okay. So had a thought and now it's gone. Let's jump to Ethan Morton then, because you're talking about defense. He's kind of got the badge of the same badge you wore, same badge Chris Kramer wore. First of all, is he in that fraternity now? Purdue defensive specialist? Not yet.
He's in the group with he's in Dakota, Nojel.
Okay.
He's in that, right? You gotta win an award to get in that group. You gotta get one. You can't just mosey on in here. Yeah, you gotta get one. You gotta get a Defensive Player of the Year award to get in that Defensive Player of the Year list. But I think he's Grady was a good defender. Dakota was a great defender. Nojel, guys like that. I mean, Keaton Grant was great. Lou Jack was great. So yeah.
Work to be done.
We gotta keep some exclusivity in the top.
Fair enough. Overall, how do you feel like Purdue's defense, especially as they've grinded into the Big Ten, how it's developed?
I think it's developed. Ethan is really I give a lot of respect to Ethan, and I joke about it, but he's taken this role very seriously. He sacrificed himself. He sacrificed his offense. Guys don't understand how much it takes. Like guys don't understand how much it takes to guard at a high level and play offense at a high level. I remember that Michigan State game. First half, I think I hit 6 threes or something like that. I don't think I hit one in the second half. Right. I think I go 6 for 8 in the first half. I think I finished 8 for 22 for the game. I think that's right, because I remember Paint saying something about it. But you're chasing Brent Forbes, you're chasing Denzel Valentine. It's eating at your leg. I remember after that game, I had I felt like one of the better games of my career. We beat Michigan State. It's time to go out to Harry's. I didn't make it upstairs to my room. I fell asleep on the couch, downstairs on the couch. So it's like it does drain you, and that's not an exaggeration. But I think it's ever since that you go back to last season out east when Purdue played North Carolina State and Brown, I think he was getting off. He was balling. Yeah. And Ethan came off. Ethan was not playing that much up to this time. He came off to the bench and really locked him up in that second half and got that win. And I think even with me, sometimes as a player, you're not playing. You're a good offensive player.
Right.
You got to find what's going to keep you on the court. And once I realized, this is going to keep me on the court, I just did it. And I think Ethan is the same way. He realized I'm the best defender. It's going to keep me on the court. Let's just roll with this. And that takes a lot of sacrifice. But I think Zach has been a lot better this year, playing without foul, protecting the rim. I mean, I don't know if it's still standing true, but I think 2 weeks ago he had more blocks than fouls. So of that aspect, being able to protect the basket and not foul, things of that sort. And then above those two things, and those two things really matter because when you have two upperclassmen that commit to defending at a high level, the freshmen have no other reason. Right. Or Caleb first, he can't. If Zach is doing it, Caleb can't complain. Like there's no talk back. And I think with last year's team, the top guys knew they were playing 30 minutes a game regardless. They knew they were going to play. They knew you knew your sub pattern at one point. You know what I mean? And this year's team, you're going to come out if you don't play. And I think the desire to guard and the want to guard, and they had a full offseason of coming off of being a terrible defensive team. You know, Payton drilled it. But I think the defense is really it's really got them to where they are. It's really saved them in games. It's helped them in games because when they can't score, you can't score either. Right. And that's a cool philosophy.
Yeah. I think one thing we saw a little bit in that 3 or 4 is the freshmen struggling. How real is the freshman wall?
The freshman wall is real, but it's a wall for everybody.
Like,
like it's not just the freshman wall. Like you see TJD hit a wall in their last game. I mean, even though he had 26, he just was exhausted against Michigan State. I mean, he just was tired. So I mean, everybody. I mean, you got to find ways to rest that guy. You look at guys like is a cool stat to me. Zach Edey rested more in Ohio State games than he did in 6 games. So it's like that will run you into a wall. So it just depends on the style you're playing, the practices. Is your coach laying off? Is your coach still going hard? But for freshmen, I mean, man, I'm not going to say just freshmen do it, but I mean, you just play. And I think honestly, like Fletcher may have hit his wall beginning of the season where he wasn't shooting it well at all, and then he got going, and then maybe he's struggling a little bit. But I won't call it a freshman wall. I would just say it's the journey of the Big Ten. It's because you go in the Big Ten, you're gonna have a different experience as a freshman than you going to play in the mid-major conference or a low-major conference. It's just a different experience. So I would say the physicality of the league will wear you out, and if you're not used to it, if you're not in shape for it, it's gonna get to you.
Is the Big Ten then just like? Is it almost a breath of fresh air to get out and play non-conference in the NCAA tournament? Obviously, it's a tournament, so it's ramped up even more. But
yeah, it's no, I get what you're saying. The hype of it ramps it up, but then you're playing guys that's never seen you, playing teams that you're not used to.
Right.
I think for Penn State, they make the tournament, they could win some games because you cannot. It's tough to prepare for a point guard that's back you down half court. Everybody's shooting threes. I mean, that's tough. I mean, even at Purdue, it's going to be tough for teams that don't traditionally post trap. The teams that have had success with Purdue post trap every time. Like if you were on the block right now and I threw you the ball, Northwestern is coming to trap you. Like you and your dog, like they come to trap you. It doesn't matter who's down there. So everybody doesn't have that, and I think it'd be tough to just throw that in 2 or 3 days. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, I was going to ask how long does that take to implement almost a whole new defensive philosophy? Because that's what they're having to do in 4 days.
It's almost impossible. I mean, you can do it, but it's not just because you do it, you won't be good at it. Because having 5 guys on this, especially that's the thing where when you have a freshman, like having a freshman and you're making a adjustment at the end of the year to play one game, sometimes it's gonna go right over the head. Like if you're trapping and there's just in their regular rotation, it's a bucket. So I think with teams like Maryland and those teams that normally they just switch up their defenses already, they're having success with it. But teams that what you gonna do, especially if you got Purdue on that Sunday game. So you prepared all week for that Thursday game or Friday game, and then boom, you got a 1-day hotel prep. How you gonna stop Zach Edey? And that's because coaches never want to jump ahead. You may work on things for your second game, but you're not telling your team this is for Purdue. If we play Purdue, you're just throwing stuff in there. But it's tough to do when it's why the tournament is so fun. But I'm excited. I'm excited for Purdue to get out in the tournament. I think Braden and Fletcher are going to do better in the tournament than what guys are giving them. I think they both have talent to be maybe not this year, but before they graduate, they'll be first team all conference guards. I mean, they have chances to be there. So I think they have the talent level. It's just about making shots. And Purdue goes through stretches where they just cannot make shots, few games. And then next thing you know, they're making 10, 12. So hopefully this is their stretch of not making shots. And then March comes and they're making shots. Because if Purdue is making shots, I go out on a limb and say they're unbeatable.
Yeah. Another thing I kind of wanted to ask you today was, obviously when we're talking NCAA tournament in Purdue, the elephant in the room is there, no Final Four for Matt Painter. How much does that weigh on you as a player, these players now? Is that a weight that just like keeps adding on each year?
As a player, if I'm being honest with you, I didn't care.
Okay.
I want to get to a Final Four.
Right.
So I guess as a player, no. Maybe the players now, because they're the ones that's been hearing it. But when I played, we were coming off a CBI and last place in the league. Nobody was. Yeah. And that'd be like somebody asking Casey Tominaga or one of those dudes, Adam, like, you feel bad your coach never hit the Final Four. Like, we're at the bottom of the league. Like, yeah. So I think that so we ended up getting them back to the tournament.
Right.
And now as an alum, and I'm not speaking for any other guys, but I don't like it. I don't like, because you look at that Virginia game, and I was at the game. There is nothing, and I love Grady Eifert. Like the Grady Eifert, if I had one shirt left in my life, I would give it. I would give my shirt. So it's like, if Grady gets a rebound, or you know what I mean,
if Klein just makes the free throw,
if they make a free throw, or if the Virginia get the guard, if he makes that free throw, who thinks he's going to miss it?
Right.
Or if the ball on a tip out, if the ball bounces twice, they don't even get time to get the shot up. It just everything happened that was out of both coaches. It was out of both of their control. Neither coach attributed to that play. That was something that the players did. So like I said, if those things don't happen, Payne is in the Final Four. We're having this conversation. But I think the tournament, to judge a career, even with Coach Katie, to judge a career off of getting to Final Fours is tough, especially when you think about historically. And I don't know, maybe I shouldn't say, but everyone acts like NIL just started. But there's been a lot of coaches that have gotten to the Final Four through NIL. You know what I mean? Before NIL was available. So some coaches, it's just what it is. It's been guys cheating. There's been guys that have cheated and gotten there, and it shouldn't be that they're because Payne has done it the right way. He doesn't cut corners. He was last place in the league 10 years ago fighting for his job. So it'd be like in 10 years, you're expecting Chris Collins to make the Final Four every year. It's just, I think what he's done and what he's continued to do and doing it the right way, I think that matters. Obviously, I want him to get there. I mean, it was the saddest moment driving from Louisville to Atlanta after that. It was, my wife and I had another stay in the hotel, and I was like, no, they're going home. So, but now I want him to get there. I think it weighs on him. I think he cares a lot. I could see him. I've never talked to him about this, but I could see Payne getting there, and then, all right, I'm doing something different now. Like, I don't know. And that's the thing too. You don't know if
you are gonna send Purdue fans into the ocean.
Yeah, you don't know. Like, you don't want Payne to get there and say, all right, I'm here now. I got it. Now I'm going with it.
I'm gonna go. He's gonna go coach minor league baseball now.
Yeah, I mean, you just never know with Payne. So I definitely want him to get there. He deserves it. And when you do things the right way, it just it takes a little longer to get where you want to go.
How cool is it to see kind of the narrative catch up with, like, Matt Painter now is getting his, like, due respect. Like you said, does the right things. And now you're locked in nationally and everything. The national narrative is now he is one of, the precious gems in college basketball.
Right.
What is that like for you as a player to see I'm sure you saw it when you were playing for him. I mean, you committed to him, obviously.
Oh yeah, no, I saw it early. I mean, I committed to paint when I committed in 09.
Mm-hmm. Oh wow, yeah.
So paint wasn't even there that long. I mean, I got my offer. And I committed right away. I mean, my first camp was 08, was the elite camp in 08. So I mean, I got to see everything kind of come together. I was in the old office before the renovations. So it's been cool to see. I say it like this. I mean, when I first moved to Atlanta in 2016, I moved to Atlanta, it was November. And I'll tell people I played for Purdue, whatever. They just kind of look at me. All right. I remember when one guy called it the Ivy League of the Midwest or something like that. Like whatever. And then 2019, I'm telling guys, I'll play for Purdue. Oh, you play for Purdue.
That quick.
It's a whole different level of respect that went into it. And I think it's been cool to see because now I can look back at it. And Coach Painter would always say things like he would leave practice and go in his room, go in his apartment or dorm and question Coach Katie. And what was Coach Katie doing? He didn't know what he was doing. And now I feel the same way. So it's like practice, I may go in my dorm, talk trash to myself, call a buddy like, yo, he's not calling me no plays. Like AJ's getting the ball every time I need the ball. So now looking back on it and I'm watching how he's coaching, everything he said was right. Everything he did was right. I mean, to know that I played for one of the best coaches to ever coach the game chose you to come play for him, that's a great feeling. And knowing that I was a leader because you see, now that I'm in this position, you see how guys that were a captain for Coach K or were a captain for Bill Self and how that means something, even for Izzo. And to know that guy trusted me to be a captain for 3 years, that makes it special. But it's been great. We knew he was this level of a coach, and he's just the guy. He could have been here a long time ago, but he is not. It's not a cheating bone in that man's body, and you just got to respect it, especially after not even a cheating part, but he's not going to bend to the NIL. Right. He's not going to bend to the transfer portal, and he's committed to getting his type of guys. Ever since that 2012 recruiting class that I was a part of, we traumatized Payne. You think about 2011 class, 2013 class, both of those classes, everyone transferred out. Yeah. So he made a conscious decision to recruit a certain type of guy, and win or lose, he's sticking with it. Like 2019, the start of the year, I think they were 5-6 to start the year. Grady Eifert, the walk-on, was starting. Everyone was bench him.
That's so wild still.
Everyone bench him. And then next thing you know, that team gets to Elite Eight. So it's like he's committed to doing it his way, winning or losing. And I just respect it. And then especially in this day where the player is now controlling a lot, I think it's respectable how coach is handling the NIL, making sure each guy can get a piece. It's good things happen to good people, and that's something he would always say to us, and I'm glad it's happening for him.
Yeah, now Purdue's been ranked number 1, 7-8 weeks this season? Wild.
Crazy. When I was playing, man, like I am telling you, like if we sit in that locker room, it's like, no way. It's like I can only imagine how Derek Walker, CJ Wilcher, those dudes will feel 10 years from now if Nebraska is number 1 in the country. Like that. Think about how that sounds. You know what I mean? And it's like to see where other programs have down, up, consistent rise, and the ability in recruiting to get old and stay young is something I know they really, really spent time in. And really, because next year, if Zach's not first round lock, you're going to have the same team next year. So it's like, this is a special time to be a Purdue fan. I hope everyone can enjoy it, especially with this year. No one expected to be number 1 in the country. So it's like we can't get to March and then maybe something happens we don't like and then we just dump on paint. So it's a thing where we got to just have fun with this moment because these next 5-6 years, it's going to be fun regardless. And then whatever happens after that, we're just going to have a lot of fun with Purdue. I think Purdue is really turning into that sexy school now.
If you're a big man, you're coming to Purdue, right?
Yeah, and even if you're a young guard, I'm going to, because if I'm a young point guard, I'm a shooting guard. He lets his players play. Yeah, I remember when we played, and this may be locker room talk, sharing too much, but there's a point where we had a guy transfer out, and he went out and said, Purdue, it's not a guard school. And not only did he say that in the media, but he went to his hometown. It was a big recruiting base for Purdue. And he told every guard in that town, every young guard in that town, I don't know if it was literally every, but he told him, the narrative was.
Anyone to talk to him.
The narrative was, don't go to Purdue. They're going to throw the ball on the side. You're not going to be able to play. And we had guys at that time decommitting. If you remember, guys were decommitting at that time. And I believe that narrative helped it. But now you can't say that. Now you had a Carson Edwards. You had a Jaden Ivey. You know what I mean? You got both of the freshmen now. So now if you're a player, if you're a hooper, if you care about basketball, there's no other better place to be.
Yeah, Jenkins literally said that to me. He's like, I was thinking about Purdue, and I'm like, but wait, Carson shot like more than anyone else in the country.
Exactly. If you can paint as a guy, you can do it. He's gonna let you. And if you the guy, you're gonna be the guy. Like, I mean, it's not because Zach is tall, it's because Zach is good. You know what I mean? So I mean, it's not because Carson shot a lot, it's because Carson made a lot of shots. So it's like, if you're the guy, he's gonna let you be the guy, and it's been cool.
That Virginia game is already underrated. Like, somehow, like, that is the best performance I've ever seen.
No, that game was sick. That game was sick. That game was Carson was outstanding. And you just love when guys too, when you're on a team and you're rolling like that, they keep finding you. They keep going. And that's another thing with good teams. Purdue teams, they will, like this team this year, they are okay with Zach being a guy. And as obvious as it is, and he should be, you will be surprised.
Yeah, for sure.
In the locker room, it's like, nah, I'm better than him. Like, that should be me. And Purdue doesn't have a guy in the locker room that's saying it should be me. And I think that's just gonna help them, because the Purdue right now is if you're a recruit, if you're a transfer, if you're a guard, if you're a big man, I don't see a better opportunity for you to be able to go out there. Because if you're it's not a place where it's favorites. If you play hard, if you play defense, you're gonna play. It's a place for you. If you can make shots, it's really a place for you. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it as watching it and being able to talk about it.
So our last topic, then we can move to the game this Saturday. Purdue IU. The first and only chance Purdue has to avenge a loss this season. Everyone else they've lost to, they will not play again until maybe the tournament.
Yep.
What did you see? Obviously, the first half in Bloomington, not what you want. Purdue's had a little bit of a habit of that lately. They did the same thing against Ohio State, turned it over early. How getting started in a game, how much is it managing, like, being focused but not too hype, ready for it but not trying too hard early?
Right. Coach would always say, don't get emotionally drunk. And I heard Coach Weber say that in the studio the other day, and I'm guessing that's a Coach Katie. I guess that's a Coach Katie thing. Don't get emotionally drunk. All right, maybe it's a Coach Weber thing, but that's one big thing that is preached. So being ready, being prepared, and I mean, I don't fall into the being too hype, being too loose. I mean, to me, when a coach says my guys they were too loose, that just means your guys didn't respect who they're about to go play.
Yeah.
Like when Coach Woodson, his guys were too loose for playing at Northwestern. They just thought they were going to beat Northwestern. Right. You know what I mean? They were confident they were going to beat them. But sometimes, like Mike Tyson said, everybody got a plan until you get punched in the mouth. And that's Purdue. Like, you hear Geo Baker earlier in the season saying IU is soft. You hear guys saying Timothy Hall is not a scary place to go play. That narrative is set, whatever, it's out there. And then Indiana, to start the year, they were a softer team. They weren't as tough as they are now. And then those first 5 minutes, Indiana just punched them in the mouth. I mean, same thing with Rutgers. Rutgers punched them in the mouth. Even at Northwestern, they had the lead all game, but Northwestern, the physical style of play, it threw them off. Even Rutgers.
They were literally allowed to punch them in the mouth.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a thing where you got to be prepared to come and play. You can't be soft. It's the Big Ten. You go on the road. If you go on the road, even as a fan, going on a road and expecting the same whistle you do at home makes no sense, because it's the road. It's the point. Like, home court advantage is not just for the fans. Like, it's just the lay of the land. So I don't know. Like, you see guys go on the road and get hit and flop. Like, you're not getting the flop call on the road. Like, you're just not. Like, I saw some plays that fans were wanting to be fouls. Like, I see a play where Braden ran in and a million, hitting for a rebound hitting. Braden went flying out of bounds.
Yeah.
That's not a foul. Like, that's not a foul. That's just his arm didn't extend. He just hit a truck and he wanted a foul. He fell. Like, that's soft. Like stuff like that. You can't go on the road and do that. So, I mean, you want to call it, that's just physical basketball. It's a center. It's a center and that's a point guard. So I think everybody has a plan until they get hit. I think Indiana and Galloway and Bates and Miller Kopp and those dudes in that first half, and even Hood-Schifino to some extent, they did a really good job at trying to push Purdue's guards out.
Right.
Because if you let Purdue's guards, if you let Fletcher or Ethan catch it toes on the three-point line, it's an easy post feed. It's going to be finished at the rim. So they did a good job at pushing the offense out. And I think once Purdue adjusted to the physicality, adjusted to how the refs were calling it and how they were guarding it, I think in second half they won by 10. So I think this is a game where we're going to see how rested TJD is, if he's exhausted. And I think that's a real concern for Indiana.
He sat the last 4 minutes against Michigan State despite being down just 10 points.
Yeah, I think I'm curious about that. I don't think Hood-Schifino can come into Mackey and turn the ball over 4 or 5 times and expect to win. I think that's going to hurt them. But with Purdue is all about getting back to – because I hate, and I don't use the word hate, but I hate that Purdue fans want Purdue to be soft. Because Purdue is the whole brand of Gene Katie. The whole brand is tough, value. We're going to hit you first. Like, you hear
Mason Gillis.
You hear Coach Painter in timeouts, like, this is it's not for the weak.
Right.
You talk to opposing teams and you talk to a guy from Michigan when I played, they're preparing to the physicality all week. So their teams are prepping for Purdue's physicality. So you can't get in the game and not expect them to be physical. Right. Like, because no one on earth goes in that game thinking Northwestern going to punk Purdue. Whether they foul you or not, you got to win that game. So it's like, if Purdue comes out with a physical mindset and offensive rebound, second chance points, getting to the free throw line, their bench has to play well. Their bench has to it's not just that it's their bench. It's not because they're role guys or reserve guys, but it's their upperclassmen. Like Mason, Brandon, David, even Ethan in the starting lineup. Against Ohio State, they got 31 points. Those 4 upperclassmen, 31 points. And the 3 losses before, they combined for 40. Like, that's just not good enough. Those guys, the national media, and we can talk about it's the freshmen, it's the freshmen, it's the freshmen. But those upperclassmen, they can't just be the freshmen. So I think those are the keys. I think second chance points. I think as for outside of making shots, like, that's the obvious. But second chance points, the upperclassmen playing well, contributing, and then keeping the guys out of foul trouble, and then really attacking TJD and making him guard. But I think it's going to be – this is my first Purdue IU game at Mackey that I've been to without being a player. So this is
this Saturday will be?
Yeah, this Saturday will be. So this is going to be it's going to be exciting for me. I'm going to be loving the crowd and all that. I probably get early to experience it, but I think Indiana's playing really good basketball, but I think it's the Big Ten. Sometimes you hit a wall, and I think Purdue, they've got to really they got to shove it to them. I mean, you can't lose to Indiana twice as a Purdue guy. I remember coming in as a freshman. I didn't play at Purdue in 2012. Well, that's winter of 2012, Robbie's senior year. Robbie's senior year, they got swept by Indiana. They got swept. And then that summer coming in, we had to run for it. I wasn't on the team. You know what I mean? I didn't play a minute in either one of those 2 games. So they got swept. We ran double suicides. I remember that. Payne was like, you got swept by Indiana, double suicide. Then that next year, we get swept again. You know what I mean? And then from there, we just been dominating. It means something, not just for the game, but Payne can say what he wants. It means something to him to win the game. Like, it means something to him. And when you lose it, he's not a happy guy. Like, it's not a regular loss. And to get swept by those guys, especially with a new coach coming in, that's not something that he's going to accept. And I think Purdue has guys that understand that. They have older guys. And I think it should be fun, man. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, you don't want your year where you're number 1, all this talk, and then you also have an asterisk of, oh, by the way, IU swept us.
Man, facts, man, facts. No, for real. Because we Indiana had a really good team. They're supposed to with James Blackman's freshman year. They had Yogi, they had Troy, and they had all those Thomas Bryant, all those dudes, and that was the year we swept them. And I'm telling you, it's no No better feeling. There's no better feeling than in Indiana or winning it at Indiana. And these dudes didn't get a chance to win at Indiana this year, but they got a chance to beat those dudes. And they got a chance to do it and clinch the Big Ten. If they
Clinch
win
the Big Ten, yeah.
They win Saturday, they clinch the league. And I remember they clinched the league after my last year. They got home against Indiana. They had stuff falling from the sky. I'm FaceTiming guys or whatever. But oh man, it's gonna be a lot of fun to see those guys. I told Rick Pizzo, I told him, there's no need to play the game. Purdue already won by 20.
You heard it here.
Excited.
Well, Rapheal, I really appreciate you coming on. What do you have going on in your life? I know you've got you're always running basketball camps for kids. Anything going on there soon?
Yeah, we actually just finished up our Monday training. We had 6 weeks of Monday training, free basketball training in study halls. And
awesome.
We have our spring break camp in April up in Fort Wayne, and that'll be fun. We're raising money for scholarships and all that there. We have our summer league. We have everything. We have 2 spring break camps, one in Fort Wayne, one in Edey.
Okay.
It's going to be a lot of fun. If you want more information, go to RaphealDavisBasketball.com. And if you want to donate or be a sponsor, we're looking for sponsors to help sponsor the foundation. I'm actually in Atlanta because one of my mentees, he's an 8th grader. He's been with me since he's been in 6th grade. His family was in Fort Wayne. It's crazy how the world works. And I know I'm belaboring, but they lived in Fort Wayne some way, somehow, through family. Now they're in Atlanta.
Okay.
It's just crazy that I happen to be based in Atlanta. It's just crazy how it worked out. And, I came down here to pick him up. So I'm picking him up for his birthday. His birthday's today. I'm taking him to Purdue to the game tomorrow and then hang out or whatever. Taking him back to Fort Wayne with his friends and all that stuff. So it's been a lot of fun. And this is a kid who I really truly believe he could be a really good, because I give it to him. He was the best middle school player in Fort Wayne, and Fort Wayne's a small town. I give it to him, but he is the best 8th grader in Atlanta now. And it's
okay.
Oh man, it's been crazy. He's grew to 6'5". It's when he met me, Malachi was 5'10". So to watch his growth spurt, and he's a lefty shooter, but he could be a really good player. But also, I took him to visit Purdue this fall. And I took him around campus, and Caleb First hosted him or whatever.
Nice.
And we left campus, and he looked at me and said, "I want to be an engineer."
Okay.
This is a kid who could be really, really, really special in life. It's just that some kids just don't have the support, don't have the family situation. If you ever listen to a rap song and it's from an Atlanta rapper, and they're talking about a neighborhood, talking about his neighborhood. He lives in probably one of the roughest neighborhoods in the city, and to be able to come and get him and take him and show these different things and do it with multiple kids, it's especially on a day like his birthday, he's never gonna forget his 14th birthday.
That's awesome. So
it's been a lot of fun. I appreciate everybody that's ever donated or helped out to make this stuff happen.
That's awesome. I mean, us here at Boiler Upload, big fan of yours, big fan of everything you're doing. We'll make sure to share all that out with this. Any last thoughts?
No, yeah, just go win Saturday, one game at a time. But I'm all season long, I've been trying not to overhype myself. Like that's the thing. As a fan, you don't get overhyped, but I've been like telling myself, nah, it's not the year. It's not the year. But I think this is a great year.
It feels like the year.
It's a great year to go out there and make something happen. So now that we're going into March and we're about to jump out of Big Ten play, I can start to maybe put my Purdue hat on a little bit. But it's gonna be cool to watch these guys.
All right, thank you, Rapheal. I'm Casey Bartley. This has been Boiler Upload Podcast. Thank you.